David Messering, do you have anything on membership today? Not today. Okay, great. David Kellerman, would you like to come up and make an announcement about what's going on tonight?
Certainly. You may want to use this mic today. One, thank Scott Mull, Rob, Mike, and Henry are going to be out at Wolf Ranch tonight. They're having movies in the parking lot. They're going to be showing Coco. Jennifer, is Jennifer here today? She's not. She's providing us, out at Wolf Ranch, they're providing us a tent and table so we can be spreading the word about the Field of Honor in our brochures. But these four gentlemen have agreed to be there this evening representing the Rotary Club and the Field of Honor. So thank you guys. Bring the kids out. Coco, if you haven't seen it, it's a great movie. As soon as it gets dark, so around 8:45-ish or so, over there by Gold's Gym, the movie will be shown tonight. Thank you.
How is it? Okay, is that better? Can you all hear me? Good, okay. Let me turn that off. That's okay. Should I turn this off? Okay. All right. Gary Zreed has a presentation. Gary, if you'd come forward, please.
Thanks, Karen. I want to give you a brief presentation about a program that the Rotary Club sponsors in conjunction with the Boy Scouts of America. It's what we call our Scout Reach program. I'll talk a little bit more on why the STEM label is up there here in a minute. Next slide. So the program really targets low-income youth within the Georgetown area. And previously, from 2013 to 2017, kind of the top of the slide's cut off, we had a program that we conducted at all the elementary schools and the Boys and Girls Club in their after-school programs. And what we tried to do is instill leadership skills, moral values, self-worth, in accordance with the Scout Oath and Law, which some of you know about, that basically sets a bunch of moral standards for some of these youth. And we brought that program into the schools. It was very successful. We were at up to 10 elementary schools and 2 Boys and Girls Club locations at one time. And there's some pictures up here. In addition to weekly programs at the schools, we also had things like campouts and Pinewood derbies, and the kids got to participate in the Georgetown Christmas parades and things of that nature. So we gave them a lot of opportunities that these kids would normally not have due to either parental schedules or cost or other family issues that they may have that prevents them from being able to participate in something, a program like the Boy Scouts have. There are 2 issues with that program. One is it was boys. It didn't involve girls, and that cut out half the people in Georgetown. Number 2, the program of Boy Scouts wasn't quite suited for a 1 hour during the week type program without campouts and weekend activities, and particularly it was focused on parental involvement, which we did not have. A lot of these kids didn't have parents that were able to participate. So what we did is we looked for alternatives, and as of 2 years ago, the Boy Scouts started a new program that is Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math, or STEM. And next slide. And that program is totally focused on career opportunities for kids, but also maintains some of the previous values we just talked about that the Boy Scouts try to instill in these youth. But it also gives them, allows them to explore creative career opportunities and determine what they want to be when they grow up. And that is very important. And basically it's based on a bunch of labs. They're in 1-month increments. Each month has a different theme, whether it's astronomy or archaeology or robotics. And the Boy Scouts not only provide the curriculum, but they also ship us supplies on a monthly basis that allows each individual student to have their own lab supplies to work with, which is really great. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to pilot that program, so we started a pilot at the Boys and Girls Club because we felt those were the kids that were in most need of such a program. We started that last fall, extremely successful. We had a full class as soon as we started. And then Shortly after, we decided that we got to have another class because we got more kids interested. So in January, we started a second class. And that program has been really successful. It's amazing to see these kids just get excited about some of these career opportunities and allow them the ability to have that opportunity. And one thing I want to do today is we've got 6 volunteers that are currently in that program, and I'm going to talk to you in a minute about what we're planning on doing next year, which we're significantly expanding the program because it's been so successful. So of those volunteers, 4 of them couldn't be here today. Linda Larson, some of you may know, she's been with the program for a number of years, and she really helped move this program along to where it is today prior to the STEM activity. Gail Butler, Dana Zreed, no, I didn't make her do it. And Dennis Brozak. But I do have 2 people here today that are very important to the program, Veronica Bastian and Bill Stanley. Could y'all come up? So Veronica and Bill really made the STEM program. They started this year, they took it over. Without them, it wouldn't be happening. They just took it and made it happen. One thing that's very unique is Veronica is on the board of Boys and Girls Club, and Bill previously was on the board of Boys and Girls Club for 9 years. So that really shows what value they see in this program, and not only that, but they have signed up to help with it next year, not only at the Boys and Girls Club, but to help expand it into other areas. So based on that, I wanted to present y'all a thank you from the Rotary Club, and Karen's here behind you, our president.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Y'all can stay or sit down either way. Give them around. They've been a tremendous help. Next slide. I want to show you what, with their help, we're going to do next year. So next year we're adding these have been elementary programs. We're adding a middle school program at the Boys and Girls Club, at least one. That's what we've identified to start with. Because we want to be able to have the kids grow and also bring in some additional kids in there. One very important thing I forgot to mention, this is a co-ed program. So it doubles the number of available youth that we can serve because it's boys and girls, and probably more girls than boys, or 50-50. So we've brought in a lot of girls. And you can see on this last slide, they're wearing lab coats, not wearing scout uniforms. But next year, not only are we growing the Boys and Girls Club, we have partnered with the ASAP program, the After School Action Program, I always forget what the A is. That's also sponsored by Georgetown Project, and that is at 4 elementary schools, and we are going to bring this program into those 4 elementary schools. We have asked for a city grant. Part of this program has been funded by a city grant. We have asked for another city grant for next year to help us expand. But also the Rotary Club's support for this program has really, really helped us move it forward. And we think we're going to have an extremely successful program next year thanks to what all of y'all have done and contributions from the Rotary Club. So thank you.
Thank you so much, you guys. That's a wonderful program. I appreciate it. I want to make you all aware of something that some of our club members have done. Several of our Georgetown Rotary members accompanied the Coppers Cove Rotary Club, and they constructed a handicap ramp for Mrs. Rosa Travis in Coppers Cove on July 8th. And the purpose of us being there was to train the folks of Coppers Cove Rotary Club how to do this. So I want to congratulate and thank the people that did that for them. Chris Cash, you guys would stand for me. Bill Connor, Dennis Pepin, George Lorgan, Mike Sweeney, and Larry Baird. Thank you all so much. I understand everybody had a really good time too, and that you're going to go back and help them again. Myra let me know that there is a ramp build tomorrow. It's going to be in Copeland, Texas at 1051 County Road 465. So if you can help with that ramp build, if you'd please see Myra after the meeting today, she'll give you all the particulars on that. And now I would like to ask my guest to come up, Kathy from ROC. She has a real special invitation for y'all.
Hi, thank you Karen for inviting me today, and I want to thank the entire Rotary for sponsoring our Camp Courage, which is our camp for children of the military, and we have a full camp this year. It starts next week, And we have 12 children signed up to come. And they will be learning things and riding horses and having lots of fun next week. And we'd like to invite you on your table. There's an invitation. There's also some extra over by the front door. But on Thursday at camp, we have what is called a flag ceremony. It starts at 9 a.m. It's about 30 minutes. And we'd like to invite all of you to come out and be our guests and let the children say thank you to you for raising the money to allow them to be there at camp. So if you have any questions, you can call out to Rock or just pick up a flyer on your way out. And there's also a brochure that tells about camp if you're not familiar with what camp is. I put a few of our annual reports if you are not familiar with Rock and would like to learn more. There's a few annual reports, so please help yourself. And we hope to see you all on Thursday at 9.
Thank you so much, Kathy. As you all remember, the money for this camp was raised at the Patriot Ball last year during our Paddles Up. So thank you, Kathy. We'll be there. Okay, this time I'd like to ask Kevin Kelly to come forward and introduce our speaker for today.
Thank you. I guess a part of this is a brief background on myself. Born in Houston, grew up in Jacksboro, North Central Texas. Went to the university in Austin and stayed, like a lot of people. Was a banker for 20 years, probably in Austin, and have been in Georgetown banker for close to 15 years. My first introduction to Georgetown, my dad moved to Serenata back in the 70s and just kind of fell in love with it, and ever since. Part of my involvement here is I'm on the city's economic development board and chamber board. And when Karen Sheldon resigned at the end of, retired at the end of last year, we formed an executive search committee and hired an executive search firm and did a very exhaustive search, brought in 6 candidates and interviewed all of them, and then our unanimous choice was our speaker to date, Jim Johnson. And so his bio is in the newsletter, so I won't go over that and let him tell us about himself, but we're very excited to have him here and look forward to his leadership with the chamber.
Thank you, Kevin. Yeah, day 80 on the job. So I'm not counting or anything like that, but day 80 today. Yes, you got my bio. Prior to coming to Georgetown, I was in Lufkin, Texas for about 3 years. And before that, I served as the vice president in Pearland, Texas. So I'm from south of Houston, went to school in San Marcos. Always thought this would be a place that we wanted to live. My wife and my 6-year-old, when we saw the opportunity here in Georgetown, could not pass it up. Through our naming thing, I'm very excited to be here and kind of talk to you a little bit about your Chamber of Commerce. I think sometimes we take for granted what our organization is, our direction, our history. And so today I kind of want to share a little bit of that. We'll definitely leave some time at the end for Q&A, but really kind of go through that aspect of today. And let's see. There we go, working. So today, ask questions. I think that's key in this process. We'll leave those towards the end. Think as a community partner responsible for your organization. It's actually in the Chamber's program of work to be a primary connector between the Chamber and our community partners to foster opportunities for engagement. So you will have us out here because though we are a business organization, it's key that we know what's going on with some of our community partners. And I actually have never been a Rotarian. I was a Lion in Lufkin. That was our Rotarian group, and I say that in the most positive concept because I've heard so many good things from many people on the chamber board, like David, Kevin, Brian, and our staff. So it's excited to be here, and I'm glad to get the opportunity to speak with you all a little bit today. Next slide on that end. Perfect. So the purpose, I'm going to give you a little brief history of the Chamber's history, understand the staff board management role, and then to understand a little bit about the value we provide over to our members. I think that's key. And at the very end, I'll summarize that. But one of the most important things our organization does is we're a membership group. We represent over 1,000 members in the Georgetown area. So as much as we do a lot of really, really good things, it's key to remember that we have to provide value back to our members. And I think, the next slide, it's going to go to something. This is kind of what some people think we do. We're trying to promote our members in one way, and so there are people that think that, no, I'm joking, it's a little far side comment where you're going out and says, if you can't read it from there, bricks thrown through your window calls owl's glass. So we are in the membership group, so we're not in the purpose of throwing bricks to promote our members, but we're going to find innovative ways to promote the different businesses that we represent on that end. So do that again, and we're going to talk a little bit about our history and our mission. So I know all of y'all can read. I'm not naive in that, but I even turn over and read our mission. As a nonprofit, there are two things we have to do. We have to have a volunteer board of directors, and we have to have a mission. The board we got, the mission we have to have, and we have to make sure that the business and our chamber, we know this. So we'll support and promote economic growth and success for our members and our community through advocacy, education, and community engagement. A lot of fun words up there. What does this actually mean is that we are here for the success of the entire community through the business environment. We're going to do that through three main things. Advocacy, that means making sure it is a good business climate here in Georgetown. It means education. No, we're not the school district, but we want our members to be educated on good business practices. We want them to be educated on what's taking place in the community. We want them to know how to close their QuickBooks out at the end of the year, the things that make their business successful. And then community engagement. I think that can be 1,000 different things. That's the connecting that we do. That's the growing. That's the networking. That's our opportunity to be out in front of this group of people and to really talk about what we're doing. And then we have our vision, to be a chamber of excellence committed to economic development, education, healthcare, and public safety. The four cornerstones. Who have heard of the four cornerstones of Georgetown prior to me saying that? Just raise your hand, I'm just curious. Quite a few of y'all. This is part of our vision. I think that's something that's key. I think the City of Excellence, the Chamber of Excellence, we should be right there in line with that. So I promise I will not try to read too many slides, but those two things, vision, mission, mission, vision, are so important that we need to stop and just really know exactly what they're saying. Next slide. Perfect. So a little trivia. We're talking about history of chambers, and we're diving to the Georgia. Raise your hand or throw out a guess. Where was the first chamber in Texas? Throw out a city. Austin. Very good guess. No, that's wrong. I'm going to go through it. It was actually in Houston, Texas, back in 1840. So a rich histories of chamber of commerces in the state of Texas. Next slide. Oh, catching you. So we're going to back up a little bit. First chamber in the United States of America. Chicago. I heard Chicago. Close. Go to the next one. New York City. A little close. 1768. Before we signed the Declaration of Independence, there was a Chamber of Commerce in the United States. And go back one more. Next slide. Okay, that one, if you looked really closely, you could have saw that the first chamber in the whole entire world. Who wants to throw a guess? Paris. It is in France, and we'll go to the next one. I am not a Frenchman, but Marseille, France. I butchered that. Y'all can laugh at that. 1599. That was the first chamber in the entire world. It was merchant ships that came together because they needed actually the ports to be a little bit wider so they could get their goods tuned up. Businesses coming together to decide for something that was for the common good of their community. They got together and they formed a Chamber of Commerce. U.S., it goes back, like I said, all the way to the 1700s. President Trapp, I think in 1911, formed the U.S. Chamber of Commerce because he felt there was a reason on a national level to have business associates together for a common good. So I think that's kind of interesting. When you go back to 1599 was the first time that term Chamber of Commerce, and it was in French, and I don't speak that, so I imagine it wasn't Chamber of Commerce. There's my little East Texas coming out. That wasn't the case. Next slide. So here's our history in Georgetown. So going back to the 1800s, we were formed in the United States, in the state of Texas. 1947, the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce was incorporated. As a nonprofit, you have your articles of incorporation. You found it with the great state of Texas, and we did that in 1947. I actually put the 15 founding directors up there. I've had a couple conversations in town. If you know any of these names, grab me afterwards. I'd be interested to hear a little bit more about them, but these are the 15 people that signed that Articles of Incorporation back in 1947. Everybody knows where we're located, hopefully. If you don't, we're at One Chamber Way, right there off Avenue next to the Recreation Center. That building was built in 1976. If you've ever been inside it recently or you remember the history, there's another door off to the left there. And the whole new side was actually fundraised in 2008 and it opened its doors in 2009. And I would bet there's some people in the room, because I know one of them is. Raise your hand if you were on the board of directors during the building expansion of that. I see a handful of hands. I see Ron. There we go. Wonderful. Many of y'all part of that expansion and what took place back there. So neat history. This is my third chamber to be a part of. The Georgetown Chamber of Commerce has always been the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce. In Lufkin, we were Lufkin, Angelina County, then Lufkin, Angelina County Chamber of Commerce. In Pearland, we had 3 or 4 different names. It's neat to know that we have always served this community. It's been our focus since day one, and I don't see any reason for that name to change anytime soon. Next slide, please. Wonderful. So a little bit about our organization. I said we are a membership group. We represent 1,050, give or take on the day of the week, members. Dues range. Again, we are a membership group, so there's dues that range from $100 for nonprofits up to our 3 platinum investors at $5,000. We have elected board members. They're all elected by the general membership. 21 elected. If our past chair's term was so to expire, they become number 22. So that's, most of the time it's 21, occasionally it will be 22. 5 people make up our executive committee. Wendy Cash of Century 21 is our chairman of the board right now. Wonderful person. And Rita Healy with the Sheraton Georgetown will be our chairman of the board next year. Next slide. Just some thoughts. Again, I said we're 3 things. The first one is a nonprofit. There are actually 1.5 million nonprofits in the United States. That blows my mind, and they all have to do 2 things. And I said this already. They have to have a volunteer board of directors, and they have to have a mission statement. The average board size, just for curious, is 15. And I think there's a lot of small ones that might have 3 or 5. There's some huge ones like Texas Association of Business has 172 different board members on it, so you can have a wide range of activities. I think some people think when you're a nonprofit you have to be a charity, and the Chamber of Commerce is actually a 501c6 organization. If you're not in the tax laws, there's a whole bunch of different ways we can be classified, but this way we are a charitable group. A lot of times your National Association of Insert Professional Trade is going to be a C6, and so we are tax exempt, but it is not a charitable contribution. Next slide. And go one more. We'll talk a little bit about our board and staff. There is a relationship between the paid staff of the chamber and those 22 board members that volunteer. Unlike a lot of nonprofits, we actually have paid staff behind the scene. And it's key to understand the difference when you talk about our organization between what the board's role is and what the staff's role is as an organization. Next slide. So this is a real simple slide. Staff carries out the program of work and manages the day-to-day operations. This is a great Rotarian group, but y'all don't have paid staff behind it. Y'all are the volunteers that are building the ramps, that are putting out the flags of honor. Y'all are the one doing that work behind the scenes. But at the chamber, we have 6 paid staff members that our responsibility is to carry out the day-to-day. Our board of 22 governs. They provide strategic vision, and they provide their expertise and vision for the way the organization should go. So I think that is always key when you understand. People ask me regularly, they say, oh, what do you do? I go, I work at the chamber. What do you do? I'm the president. What's your real job? And I'm like, no, my real job is that we run an organization. We have a $750,000 budget. We have staff. We have benefits that we have to do. We have an organization to run, like many of your larger associations that you're involved with on a day-to-day. Next slide. And I think it's key that mission and vision, that slide that I spent so much time on, it's probably the one slide that I'll talk the most on. It's key to know that together that board and staff creates the mission and creates the vision. If there's not that partnership and those 2 people working together, nothing will get done. Our organization will stay stagnant. Organization won't move forward. So on this slide, you see the pieces kind of come together, and that's symbolic of the relationship between our board and our staff. Next slide. And then just slide into that next one on the tools. Perfect. So this is a tools of membership. So what do? We talk about that we are a nonprofit. Our second thing is that we're a membership group. And the third thing that we always do is commerce. I really simplify that message, commerce. Because commerce is different for every single person that comes in through our door. Commerce for a realtor is going to be selling homes. Commerce for an ice cream kid store on the square is people walking through the door. Commerce for a large manufacturer of windshield visors for Toyota is a strong workforce. So it means something different. And and I'll go on a soapbox, but I always use churches as an example. They simplify their message. If I was to simplify a church message, I simplify it down to salvation. That is what, at the end of the day, a church would do. But salvation is something different for each person. Each member that walks in through the door, each member we represent needs commerce, and it's a different thing of what each and every one of them needs. So we do that through a variety of activities, a variety of events, but we break it down to 4 things. Going back to that mission. Oh, you can go back, you can keep back on that other slide. Perfect. Advocacy, we are the voice of business. We are reestablishing our public policy. We have a meeting on Monday to set what that means. To me, that means that we take pro-business stances that are positively impacting our businesses. And we have a history of doing that prior with UDC and different things in the community, but we need to say, we believe this is important for businesses, and we should be able to go to our elected officials and say that's what we believe. So we're revamping that program. Community engagement. I talked about that when we were on the mission. This is everything we do. This is our business networking lunches. These are our lunch and learns. These are our breakfast links. These are those programs that provide opportunities for you to connect one-on-one and in small groups with other people. I will challenge anybody that there is not another organization in this town that provides more opportunities at different times, at different locations for you to connect and grow your business. So we have a variety of activities, and we've purposely done that so we can be a positive community engagement in our area. Education. Again, this is our opportunity to be a catalyst, to be a connector, to be somebody that uses our clout and leverage to provide high quality education that's relevant and important to businesses. If we don't know what they need, we can't have this program. This is our lunch and learn topics. This is those breakfast links. This is our chamber university. This is everything we're doing and continue to improve so that we can make sure that the education that your businesses are getting and our individuals is relevant and important. 24/7. We do some things behind the scene every single day. This is our business directory that's printed and distributed. It's our maps, it's our website, it's our social media. This is the stuff that you know is taking place regardless if you're into public policy, regardless if you're going to come down to a networking event, regardless if you're involved in education. We are doing things for the business community directly and indirectly all the time. And I think sometimes people forget that there's things behind the scenes that benefit your membership. There's always, come out and come to an event, but hey, if you can't make it, I promise our pulse of the business community, our marketing opportunities are out there to help you grow and connect your business. And last but not least, I put those 4 things, and I kind of wrap it with a bow down at the bottom. I talk about staff. Without our staff, again, those paid people that our job is to carry out the mission, to carry out the program of work, to carry out the day-to-day operations, to connect with our members, none of this could take place. It's a lot going on. If it was pure volunteer, I don't think anything would get done like this. But with a great professional staff, we are fantastic on that end. So that is what we do for those members on that end. Next slide. And then one more just to summarize it up, and I'll definitely leave some time for questions, is I simplified this message over and over when I meet with people. 3 things that we will continue to do. We'll be a nonprofit. The state of Texas requires us to do that. We can't change that at all. Number 2, we're going to be a membership organization. We're going to ask businesses, ask individuals, ask nonprofits to invest in what we're doing because we're going to promote commerce. I know that that means something different for every single person in this room. If I ask you what successful commerce meant, I'm going to get 100 different answers today. But that means that our program of work at different stages of businesses, at different interests, different expectations, different things, we are going to meet those needs. It's 80 days on the job. It's been a fun time so far. It's interesting to learn, to get to meet with many of y'all on what those expectations are of the chamber. If you go to the next slide, it's just going to end with my contact information because I am not afraid to put that out there. Bug me at any time. We'd love to hear your feedback. I know today, as part of my listening tour, as part of my opportunity to grow and connect and to put our strategic plan in place in September, I love questions. This is a strong group of people, and so if it's okay with the club, I'd love to say if you have a question, I'm here to answer it and love to conclude with that. Thank y'all guys for the time today. I can hand him, I can walk with him and hand him the mic, you know, kind of hey, what's your name again?
No, after 80 days on the job, what do you see as a major challenge for the chamber?
Excellent. So the question was, obviously, on day 80, what are our challenges? I think 2 things. 1, defining our role in economic development. The Chamber, luckily, years ago received some funds that we are trying to decide what we want those to look like and how we're going to distribute those back into the community. And number two is finding that gap that we're missing. I think we do an excellent job on stage one of businesses, those who want to connect, network, and grow, but businesses that are already established, businesses that don't need all that networking, I think there's a little bit of a gap there. So our program of work will continue to evolve and kind of move those into those businesses that say, I don't need a ribbon cutting, I don't need to go to an event right now, but I need some true higher level education, I need some advocacy because my business is struggling with X issues. So those are some of the gaps that we're working on right now. David?
Jim, for those of our members who have not taken advantage of the Leadership Georgetown program offered by the Chamber, would you please explain that?
Sure. Leadership Georgetown. How many graduates of Leadership Georgetown are in the room? I'm just curious. Wow. So I can turn it over to you then, David, and answer the question as well. Leadership Georgetown starts up in September. It's a great 9-month program designed to connect you with instrumental people, like-minded people in their statements, as well as information about our community. It has an economic development, education, healthcare day. There's a variety of activities. There's some off-site interviews. As a graduate of both Leadership Pearland and Leadership Lufkin, I'm happy to say, David, I'll be going through the class this fall as well. But I think if you think you know what's taking place in the community, your eyes will still be open to look at some graduates in there. If you think you know, you might work for the city of Georgetown and think you know the city, and then you get involved in that and you go, wow. So if you want to take a higher level education, if you want to get a little bit more information, love to have you go through that program. Applications are available right now. It's accepting applications through August 15th. It is a first 30 applicants get accepted to the program. So if you're interested, definitely reach out and get that in sooner than later. Mike?
I know you're a numbers guy, but just thinking while you're talking, do you have any feel for what the per capita number of nonprofits there are here in Georgia?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know the answer. What I do know is that there's roughly 3,300 tax-paying businesses in Georgetown. Out of those, 800 plus are members of the Chamber, so we're about 1 in 4 on that representing business community. And we represent nearly, actually, I can't remember if it's nearly 100 or right over 100 different 501c3s and C6s in the community. So if we have 100, there's got to be hundreds more in this community. I'm going to go here and then I'll go there.
Jim, the difference between, what do you see as the face difference between the average member in Lufkin, which had a little bit more oil field, and the membership here in Georgetown?
Meaning, clarify that. Sorry.
Meaning in terms of, were they after the same thing? In other words, is it more mom and pop businesses here versus Lufkin?
No, I think when you have fast growth, I mean, we're one of the fastest, if not the fastest growing community in the state of Texas and the U.S. You have a lot of new startups, and I think that's something that we weren't seeing in Lufkin. We weren't seeing lots of new businesses come. However, in Pearland, we ran into that. And the problem with that is when you have a membership-based group, a lot of our services are based on that first 6 months. Ribbon cuttings, exposure, putting you on our newsletter, putting you in on the social media. However, a lot of those businesses in the first 2 years close. A lot of businesses in the first 24 months are just a really expensive hobby. That's a bad thing to say, but it's the truth. A lot of them don't work out. And it's making sure that, one, we have the programs to make them work and help you get past that next stage. And two, if they do drop, unfortunately, we do everything we could to ensure that they have the right opportunity to get connected and grow their business. Some things we can't control around it. Back over.
For the club, we have a lot of visionaries in this community, in this club, and Bob Britt is one of those. The Chamber's vision was introduced to the Chamber of Commerce with Bob as chairman of the board, the 4 cornerstones that make a great community, so I just want to share that.
Absolutely.
Something that you saw that Georgetown Chamber, you got and you went, wow, this is a really great idea. I wish the other 2 chambers I came from did. Something that you were surprised that we did that was right.
Sure. Yeah, B&L, Business Networking Lunch, is an animal in itself. It's an excellent opportunity. I've never seen a chamber do a program like that gives over 120 people every single month the opportunity to connect. And that works on so many levels for so many businesses. And I've never seen something done like that. I've never seen the opportunity to get that many people exposure in a 60-minute time frame. So I think that's due to some of our wonderful hosts of that B&L program, what they do. But I think That fits for many businesses, but it's to be sure that for those that don't need that there's other programs that are in place to meet their needs. But being able to one.
I have about one more.
One more.
What specific resources do you have for startup business?
So I'm going to walk up there and get to that question so I can turn the mic in. What resources do we have for startups right now? I think that is one of our biggest challenges. I think we partner with SCORE. If you're not familiar with SCORE, I call it the kick in the tire stages of opening up a business. They meet in our building. They have space there, so it's a direct partnership. We're going to improve our relationship with the Small Business Development Center out of Texas State University. I think that's stage 2. You kick the tires, you go to the SBDC, but then it's also looking at our program of work directly with JEDCO and probably creating actually a small business startup resource guide, a print and paper thing saying if you're opening up a business in Georgetown, this is what the best practices are. These are the other financial resources, find space, growth coach, everything along those lines. But that's directly in JEDCO's, which is the Georgetown Economic Development Corporation. Got to make sure I got that right. Acronyms throw me off sometimes. But it's directly in their strategic plan with a task that gets put on the Chamber of Commerce to help them develop that. So that will be something within the first 6 to 9 months that we will get created and have that available. Because again, if it's difficult, and I think most people would agree, it's difficult to start up a business. If it's difficult, what can we do to help them make that process a little bit easier? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Before we leave, it's a practice of our club to have you sign a book.
Oh, wonderful.
And then we donate it to Pearl Elementary. So if you do that for us, that would be great. Thank you so much. A great program. Okay, are there any other announcements for the good of Rotary? Anything we missed to bring up? All right. If you would please join me in the things that we think, say, and do. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and friendships? And fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? We're adjourned.